I wanted to go around again, and we're drawing to a close of our discussion here, but I wanted to maybe come back to Zenzele, and this is a question I'm posing to all of you, is what kind of advice would you give to broadcasters based on and media practitioners based on your experience in better understanding and deepening their understanding of gender and what it means?
I think it's the easier way to deal with it. I always say to my reporters, if you don't want to complicate your issue, just say if you are doing a story, at least one source has to be a woman. And also, if you are doing a story about women issues, at least one voice has to be a man. And I think starting from that balance, it will be easier. But also, I've always said to them, when you're doing a story, try to find out how the issue that you are talking about affect women and men. And maybe the question will be, I mean, if you're talking about, just a law that has just been introduced, an agricultural law that has been introduced, when you're interviewing someone, you can ask them, as a woman, how is this law affecting you? If it's a man, you then say, as a man, how is this question, how is this law affecting you? You will discover that the way they answer is different. Because if you're talking about the shortage of water in the city and you ask a woman and say, as a woman, how does this affect you? She will tell you that I have to come to work early, go to the borehole, fetch water, or walk long distances carrying water. But a man will tell you, no, I'm inconvenienced now because that means I'll spend a day or two without bathing. He will never tell you about the hard work that is involved, because whether there's water or not, when he wakes up in the morning, he wants to bath. Whether there is water or not, when he gets home, he wants to eat. So just by asking people how it affects them from their gender point of view, or as a disabled person, how does this policy or how does this law or how does this action affect you, or as a minority, you find that you get the answers that you want coming from that gender point of view. So it's always easier that way. And also you find that if you want to talk to women, if you want to talk to the disadvantaged, they will never come to your office. They will never come to you. You need to go out and look for them, because if you are saying they're disadvantaged, there's disadvantage for sure. They don't have access to the media. They don't have access to the things that we take for granted. They don't have access to social media. So it is you, a reporter, who wants to tell the story. You need to go out of your way to find these people and make sure that you really help them tell their story, not you telling their story on their behalf.
Thanks, Zenzele. And I'll pose the same question to you, Therese.
Okay, I think this all has to start at training level for people to understand gender in the media. As we target our gender and media training institutions, they have to learn from university, from colleges, what gender is, how they can put gender into the media, so that as they learn from an early stage what gender is, and understanding the concepts around gender and the differential impacts between women and men on in any given situation, they carry this with them as they go into the industry. And because they're now in the industry, they'll be having this knowledge with them, such that their reportage is now different. Their reportage is gender-based, gender-sensitive, and getting back to what Zenzele was saying, they can now, be able to interview people, knowing that this has different impacts on women and men as sources bring together different energies into any news story. And interviewing both women and men, again, is journalism 101. You get different sides of the story, two sides to every story. So basically, without the other side of the story, just male sources, that means the story is half-baked. The story doesn't hold water because you still have to consult the other side. So from education, from getting journalism and media education, they have to be taught gender courses or integrate gender into their courses. And as they progress into the industry, they are already equipped and know what they're doing. They are already equipped and they can see gender angles in your story. They can see. They're able to be gender aware, they're able to be gender sensitive, and those stereotypical images or being in stereotypical roles in the media, it's disbanded from that point going forward. also to allude to what Sandra was saying, it's there in the industry now. They can now go to the sites where these people are to seek women's voices so that they capture their lived realities and document these women's stories and document the stories from physically challenged people, because they are in their context where they can even tell the best of their stories. So that's the advice we would possibly give to journalists out there.
Thank you, Teresa. I'll turn over to you, Lydia, now, and same question posed to you.
Oh, okay, Nelly. I think I share almost the same belief, and training is the bedrock for journalists, and in fact for broadcasters. Training and retraining and mentoring and coaching, because you can train and then they go and they can leave it or forget, but when they come back we keep on revisiting the issue, going through it. Before you go at the planning stage, we plan with them, and then if you're supposed to go and interview a woman who has really excelled, or not even excel, a woman's story. For instance, we had recently the issue of sanitary pads for schools, and there was a whole lot of problem that why would the government spend so much money getting pads for schools? And the young men were saying, okay, no, it's why would they give so much money to be given to girls for sanitary pads? And we said, okay, can you go and then do that story? They said, well, I don't know what sanitary. I said, do a research about sanitary pad, and then go and then do so inspired. They were so happy. They were so proud of themselves, because they've never known what it takes for a girl to go through all these difficulties during classes. So that is some of the practical way we try to inspire them, so that they can change their perception. They can change. They will love to do stories that has to reflect in gender. The same thing, we assigned one of our female journalists to follow up a story about the chief, because it is normally a cultural practice that a woman should go and interview a chief. But when he did it, when she did all the process approach, did her research, and it came back and she was so empowered to be able to do that once again. Starting from the traditional authority, she will be empowered to interview a politician, a diplomat who is in the region or in the municipality. So these are some of the issues. And then what will she be looking for? She will look for the story about an issue that has been raised, that it is about economic issue, fuel crisis. All right, fuel crisis is a very critical issue. Lack of motorbikes or bicycles. Here, motorbikes and bicycles are our greatest transport, and so to do the basic things. So these are some of the little things. We say, okay, why don't you look at this story in this way? So it is on the job mentoring and coaching daily, so the issues are imbibed in their system, so that they can go ahead with it. But training and retraining is the key, because a journalist from the main training institution, these things are not talked about, and you come back and then you are to do a story. Definitely your beat will always be going a different angle. So, but training and retraining on gender issues and bringing them to everyday life, I think that will be the best way to achieve what we are looking for.
Thank you, Lydia. That said, I do want to thank all of you for taking the time to bring your knowledge and your expertise and your perspectives to this discussion on gender, and to say that this discussion doesn't stop here. During the week that we will focus on gender in the farmer program e-course, this is meant as a discussion launcher. We'll be discussing gender and all of that was discussed during this online discussion that we've had here on Google Hangouts. So just before we close off, I want to know if anyone has any final thoughts and would like to maybe bring some sort of advice on where people can go for more resources or where they can source more information. And I'm specifically turning and looking to you, Therese, for maybe some of that.
Okay. Maybe just 2 points, to elaborate on 2 points. The media should take things into their hands and evaluate themselves. I talked about the tools that we use at Gender Links to evaluate the progress that media institutions are going through. So we use tools such as attitude survey, where we see what kind of attitudes the people in media houses have towards general issues, gender issues. Do they think beating up a woman is a sign of showing love? Do they strongly agree? Do they agree? So we try to evaluate: are they gender sensitive? Are they gender insensitive, or you know? And then as time goes on, they do this attitude survey again to see that to see if there's been change in their attitudes towards women and towards men, towards minority groups like the LGBTIs. So they should constantly monitor themselves. And we also do a gender and media scorecard where they also evaluate themselves in terms of the where we have workplace indicators in editorial content, their board, whether it's gender balance and the like. So as we start working with them, we make them do the scorecard in the beginning, and also continuously as time goes on, maybe periodically, maybe 6 months, to see the progress that is happening in these media institutions, and is the training that they're getting making an impact. And that's in terms of the tools. And then we also do media monitoring. Media houses can actually monitor their own content to see, is it gender aware, to see if it's gender aware, the kind of topics that they're covering about women, and whose voices, what kind of topics are emerging as the most popular in their news content. And from this, they can reflect from the results that they get. They can reflect on the work that they're doing and try to address the gaps according to what these results are showing them. I'm sure Radio Dialogue has done that before, like last year when they did self-monitoring, and one of their reporters, actually, one of their presenters or journalists was given that task to do the media monitoring. And then that's the tools in terms of media monitoring. And then just finally to say that we're looking at media organizations as we should start looking at media organizations as partners in this fight to achieve gender equality in and through the media. Of course, many times we find that the media may be part of the problem, or is actually in the forefront of causing this problem of gender inequality. But let's start to engage them as equal partners to be part of the solution in trying to achieve gender equality in and through the media. And yeah, those are my concluding remarks.
Great, thank you, Therese. Wanted to give the floor to either Zenzele or Lydia as well for closing remarks. Zenzele,
I think for me, I've mentioned most of the things for now. I think, yeah, it's just a matter of trying to go out and talk to the people. That's all what I can say.
Thanks, Zenzele. Lydia?
Yeah, I think we have concluded. I've said everything. The only thing I can say is that community radios, especially radio organizations, should actually make consensus effort and really do some monitoring, like Tracy has said, because this has been something that, in fact, we have not actually done it is in a more empirical way to document. But documenting these things, it will help. Thank you so much.
Thank you to Lydia, to Therese, and to Zenzele for having taken the time to speak with us and to connect with us online. This was a very interesting discussion, and thanks to everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye now.
Bye.